how do you feel your video game background and as a gamer influences the action that we see on the screen in this show?
In Strike Back, wow, that's an interesting question. I don't think video game action influences Strike Back, right? I don't, because I've been playing video games since hell, Wolfenstein, right? And I think what's happened is that video games have caught up in how they can represent the action. So when you play the Call of Duties and the Ghost Recons and stuff like that, they're now doing the kind of special forces type stuff that we're doing on Strike Back. Okay, so I think it's the other way around. I think games have fed off shows and movies which are delivering action which you could never previously do. Motion capture in games now is as good as it's going to be. The animation in games is real. The performances are real. So the question for me now is that crossover with, like, can I do a game that gives me the crazy action that I can do in Strike Back, and how does Strike Back catch up with what video games are now doing, because video games are not real, whereas Strike Back is real. There's no digital enhancement in Strike Back. When I'm blowing something up, it's real. When the actors are there, it's real. And I think that's the key, is to make the audience more involved with the characters than maybe in a game. Now the problem with games, when I'm playing a game, I am that character. So games kind of win in so many ways, except what we can do is we can tell great stories, and we have that kind of lightness of tone, and two characters that you love to be with. And I think that's the key to what makes Strike Back work, is a bromance between, Phil Winchester and Sullivan Stapleton. That banter, that fun times, that you can kick back a little bit more and not get the intensity of the game involvement where you always have to be on. I get tired playing games because it's like, dude, just don't cheat at me. Let me sit and have a cup of coffee for a second. I have to hit the pause button and take a rest because I'm old, Whereas, with something like Strike Back, you can sit back and enjoy the story being told to you. And I think that's a kind of fundamental difference between games and TV and movies anyway, is that games have taken over that kind of first-person experience, putting you inside a narrative. And movies and TV, you're going, just tell me a story, which is a much more traditional way of doing it. And kind of, without getting all egghead about it, the history of humanity is the history of being told stories. What games are doing now, and I'm really bigging up the games here, but what games and game writers are doing now is they're creating stories inside these things which you're then involved in. I remember, non-player characters, you're going, I want to find out what happens to that guy, So that's good writing. So we have to play, but hell, I think there should be a Strike Back game. So we'll be having that same conversation in a year or so's time anyway.
Well, what would your vision be for a Strike Back game?
Wow, I think you could. Obviously the Call of Duty, Ghost Recon, those kind of things. I think it's a co-op, because that two-player co-op is the key. I'm a first-person shooter fan, right? So I want to be there at their point of view on the ground. But there are some games which allow you to step back into that third person and see the tactics. So what I'd love to do is have a tactical game where you've got R2 guys, you've developed the tactic, you have a mission. How are you going to do the mission? From the crib, so you got all the intel, and then you go, this is a mission, and then you still go into a first-person version of doing that mission. And if you fuck it up, you've got to go back and do a new tactic. And I think that might be a fun way of doing it. And then we get into the boys can play themselves, so maybe you're the third member of the team.
What are the challenges of upping the ante from season to season as you guys try to push what can be done, especially filming real stuff?
Yeah. I think one of the things I did when I came into the show, the show existed before me, and I loved what it was doing, and I got involved because I knew Phil Winchester. He'd been in a movie of mine called Solomon Kane, which just came out on DVD 2 days ago. Everybody, go and buy it. 5 years late, but what the hell? Let's just keep buying that thing. So Phil was in Solomon Kane, and I'd gone off and done another movie. He was doing Strike Back. He called me up just as a hey, how you doing conversation. I said, I love Strike Back. He said, you should come and do one. I said, I don't do telly. I've never done telly. He said, yeah. And I said, yeah, but it's a good fun show. I got a call from the producers a week or so later saying, Phil says you like Strike Back. I said, yeah, I love it. Do you want to do one? So like, yeah, okay. So I just kind of came in a very casual way, just going, listen, I come from movies, I'll do what I can, I'll, just give me the toys and I'll do the best thing I can do. They like what I did, so they asked me to come back this year, and I said, we got to push this. We got to, this is great what it's been before, but I think the show can be bigger. I think the action can be more intense. And if Phil and Sully are prepared to get in the middle of the action, which is what they are, then I can really be inside the action with them. And normally TV action, they kind of go on long lens and they're a long way away. And I thought, hell no, I want to be this close as the explosion goes. I want to be underneath the guns that they're firing them. I want to be able to see where they're coming from. And that's kind of what happened. We went a bit more handheld, a bit more cinematic, a bit more intense. So we did stuff like we went to the African jungles and we did kind of gunboat chases down rivers and blew those things up and drowned people and did crazy stuff. And then we're literally just cutting episodes 9 and 10, the season finale, and that stuff's got bigger and bigger. We've got things on moving trains with helicopter deployments, and we're chasing gunships down runways, and it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And I think the problem we've now got is we've looked back at this season and said, how the hell do we do next season? So that's the challenge, because it's TV and there's like a limit to the budget we've got and there's a limit to the time we've got. So I think we're hitting that envelope of, I'm now saying, just give me 3 more days and I'll give you, 100% more action. So it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge. The rule is, if it's difficult, let's do it. If it's impossible, let's really do it.